first quarter. USA lead 9-8. The second quarter begins here in Christchurch, New Zealand. The World Wheelchair Rugby Final, and it's USA 9, New Zealand 8 at the end of the first quarter. And there's one of the stars of the New Zealand team, Dan Buckingham, local lad, although comes from down on the deep south in the Catlins. So there'll be a special cheer for him today on One Sport. And our coverage also being streamed live on the web on via tvnz.co.nz. So this final able to be watched anywhere in the world by just going to that site. So this is a breakthrough for wheelchair rugby. And we have a little stop here when Peter Martin is with me. Peter's credentials to be in the commentary box, as long as you're armed. Peter, you'll just have to put up with me here for a moment. 3 times New Zealand wheelchair rep at the World Championships and the first New Zealand captain. And of course, just 10 days ago, a gold medalist and world record holder in the javelin at the World Paralympic Games in Holland. Gold in the shot put as well. There's good work by Buckingham, but Kirkland recovers and he's in unopposed.
Yeah,
so
it looks
Peter
like
Martin, you're well qualified to be here, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've learned a few things about rugby, and hopefully we can introduce a few of the New Zealanders to it. But it looks there like the US guys have put on 4-2s. That means all of their players have the same points and same abilities, essentially. Very fast and mobile. So they're looking to full court press all day. And as you see there, Dan's under a bit of trouble. He's in the front court, so the pressure's off a little. But the US are really going to take it to our boys at the moment and see if they can unsettle some ball and get some turnovers.
10-9, Buckingham again.
As you see, young Dan's up to the mark. He looks like he's hurt a bit, might have taken a whack in the face.
It's okay.
So the clocks stop and start when the ball is across the sidelines with into the end zone. And away for the first time we have Seth McBride.
Yes, and as you can see, this man's got a few wheels in his chair as well, so he can move along quite well. And Kiwis have still got a 3-2-2-1 lineup, so obviously when they've got 4-2s against us, they've got a little bit of a benefit in terms of a mismatch against that low pointer.
So Tinker brings it into Buckingham, but you see that New Zealand have 15 seconds to get it out of the back court. Up, in other words, over halfway into the front court. And Johnson with the ball.
Yeah, and Tim's struggling a little bit, but he's managed to offload to Dan Buckingham just over the half. And Jerry Tinker puts in a great block there and lets Dan get away again. As you see with the low pointer there, his job is completely just blocking, getting his faster players manoeuvring around. So here we see the block from Jai first. That's the low point. Offload to Dan. Then a nice pick from Jerry Tinker, and Dan's able to run past and drop those US players.
So away comes the United States now in the second quarter. Here's Will Wu from Portland, Oregon. in the game for the first time. Rolls it over into the front court to Andy Cohen.
Andy's a pretty level-headed player. He's been around a while and done a few championship games, so you won't rattle him too easily. And as you see there, he's just taking his time, assessing the options.
Jai Waiters, New Zealand's number 5, patrolling down to the bottom of the zone here.
So we've set up back in the key, doing a key defence. And on that occasion, Andy was able to bust through on his own.
Got around behind his teammate Seth McBride. It's a 12-11 game to the USA. Johnson into the front court at halfway.
And as you see, that pressure from those 2 4-2s is coming on. They're able to recover very quickly and get around in defence. So even though Tim Johnson was out in the space, Will Gruhl ran him down. Gruhl's a very fast 2.
And Tim Johnson scores. He had those spectacles, prescription spectacles, that's all. Had them broken yesterday. And they've fixed and repaired, and he's back in action with them today. Apparently, the problem is not so much eyesight. He likes to be able to look across and see the scoreboard at the side of the court. And he can play quite well without those spectacles. But a guy like myself, I love to see people playing in spectacles, Peter.
Yeah, no, he's...
They're real people.
He likes to have a go at this sort of thing. And
Kirkland, here comes a big collision from a couple of the Kiwis. Kirkland gets that big 110 kg frame moving, and he couldn't be stopped by Tinker coming across.
And again, as you see, the pressure from the 4-2s, they're able to get inside between Jerry Tinker and his receivers and really stop that pass. So it makes it very difficult. And then once you're in to receive the pass, you've got to get out of there again. So back in this front court quite safely, and Tim's managed to carry it right up there. Looks like we've got a reach on one of the US defenders.
I got white. 11.
So we see Andy going off to the bin, Andy Cohen. So basically he's had a go at the ball, and instead of hitting the ball, he's hit Tim Johnson there. So he'll spend either a minute or until New Zealand scores.
So Buckingham, here's New Zealand now doing their little bit of the letting the clock tick down while there's a man out in the sin bin.
Again here, it's a little difficult for the Kiwis with the 4-2s, but with one out, they're just happy to play it round, gather a little bit of rest. There's not too much urgency. Right in the game, and there's a long time to go yet.
Fantastic effort by the family here, the Pierre Briere from Quebec, the son of the other referee, who is Gilles Briere, the father, and there they are, the two of them working the final. Father and son, it's a fantastic achievement for them. And you see that a lot from Buckingham. He's able to reach in and snatch.
Yeah, so that's another jump ball. So Dan Buckingham was able to get a jump ball on the US team, and that comes back from to the arrow possession. So that'll change the arrow, but this time it goes to the US team. Next time it'll be New Zealand. So it's still a good play.
13 all.
Kiwis have keyed up back in that key, zoned up as we say. So
there into the game is Nick Springer, number 14.
With the key defense, basically you're trying to go man on man as a defending team. So if someone gets around you, you've got to get someone under that. And you try and sit high enough in the key.
That was very well done by Springer and Gruhl. And Sholto getting warmed up. Sholto Taylor from Hawke's Bay might be coming in. A bit of a speed merchant about to come in for New Zealand perhaps. And, oh, there's the ball. It's bounced away from Johnson. Now here's a chance for USA to get that gap on the scoring.
Absolutely. We were just talking about Sholto, and the Kiwis are feeling a bit of pressure here. And there's an example of what happens when you get a little bit tired, and these 4 deuces are able to apply a lot of pressure, as I said, and they've transferred that into a turnover now and probably going to score. Yes, nice corner play. young Springer, and Andy Cohen goes in untouched again.
So that's a very good turnover for USA now, and they lead by 15-13.
The Kiwis won't be panicking. They've got plenty of time, and they know they've got confidence in their own abilities. So here we see Tim Johnson taking a bit of a time out here.
So it's a New Zealand timeout here at 2:46 remaining in the second quarter.
4, 3, 2, 1.
So good.
Yes, the person.
Or was they all going to bounce? Because I never heard any calling.
Must score last ago. Big picture.
Yep.
2 minutes down. Score the goal. One more crack at a turnover, then last to score. Score this goal. One more crack at a turnover, then last to score. Jeremy. Back on you. 1, 2, 3, 1. So,
2:46 to go in the second quarter. USA lead by 2.
So we heard Coach Sharman there. What he's saying is he wants to score quickly, really apply some pressure if we can and get a turnover. And if we do, then to score once so that we actually come back to the ball game even square at the end of this period. So it looks like the first part's not quite happening. We're not scoring quickly, but they've still got possession, and that's the main thing.
Number 14, Floyd Springer, he likes to be known as, and there's, you see for USA, you see him is without any hands, a victim of meningitis, but that's fantastic to see him playing here in the World Final.
He's a very active man because with the trunk function he has, he's able to maneuver his chair and move the body weight.
Well, there he is, really working hard into Tinker.
Wait,
and you see there an example of a fellow with trunk and a fellow without. Jerry Tinker's falling all over him, and that's because he doesn't have any balance through his posture in the trunk.
Known as Floyd from St. Petersburg, Florida. So New Zealand didn't get that early goal, Peter, so they still searching for it.
Yeah, well, like I say, these 4-2s are able to apply a lot of defensive pressure, and it's not easy to get past them.
So there it is. It's Jerry Springer who scores.
Looks like there might be a substitution coming up on the bench as well, with Zupan and Scott Hogsett lining up there. So substitutions can only come on when there's a stoppage in play, but not including a normal goal. So as we see Andy Cohen screaming away, Dan Buckingham in pursuit, but unable to stop him on that occasion.
So it's up to 16-14. Buckingham again. He's works very hard at both ends of the court, Peter, doesn't he?
Yes, he does, and he's got great vision. He gets his head up. You can see him looking around, looking for options. But on that occasion, all the defenders were inside, so he was unable to get the pass away. But they're safely over half now, and you can see how they block and work to positions, and then once over half, they'll settle it down and control, particularly against these tight defensive plays of the US team. They don't want to force silly little errors and bad passing and that sort of thing.
So here is Tinker.
They're going to be a little bit concerned when they're in these tight situations like this, because if you get jammed between two chairs, that's called a trap. You're only allowed there for 15 seconds with the ball. So if you get two players together, you have to have a third one to receive.
20 seconds. New Zealand like to score last to see if they can close that gap up to just 1 point. Johnson's making the move. Look at the clock ticking down. Just a few seconds left. The Americans are well back in their zone. Buckingham is searching for the gap. Is it there? Here comes Johnson, and he just has to get the front over, and it is a score for Tim Johnson, the New Zealand captain. Closes up. It's a 1-point lead now to USA, and it's going to be just a few seconds on the inbound, and they'll hold it here, count it down, and that is half-time now with USA in the lead by 1 goal at the half-time, 16-15, and the World Wheelchair Rugby Final from Christchurch, New Zealand.
We will announce the number and ask you to remain courtside to receive a match ball signed by both these teams. Big one, Kiwi. Hey!
Down here.
penalty qu'on n'a pas donné de but. Ouais, je pense qu'on est rendu. Il faut venir comme de dernier, je crois qu'il faut.
16 minutes of hell right here.
Let's pick it up here, boys.
16 minutes of hell.
Here we go.
Come on, go. Play like a champion.
1, 2, 3.
USA!
Well. Two last boys. Two more corners. 1, 2, 3, play. Let's do that again. Come on. Yeah, let's go. 1, 2, 3, play. Guys, good job again, second half. Good.
These are the halftime stats from the Westpac Centre in Christchurch. There they are. The key one is the turnovers. You see, USA have won over the New Zealand team. New Zealand have handed over once to USA, and that's reflected on the board, 16-15 to the United States. New Zealand's had slightly more of the possession. Look at the great crowd here at the Westpac Centre in Christchurch. They're really enjoying this. It's a tough battle, and New Zealand just a little behind here. They must get the turnover to come into the game. Number 9, Bill Outen, is into the game. He's the oldest player in the New Zealand team at 44 years young. And Bill, a local lad, formerly from the deep south as well, as the third quarter begins. And away goes Tim Johnson from New Zealand at the start of the third period of play. Keith Quinn and Peter Martin with you on One Sport and live streaming on the web via tvnz.co.nz.
That's it.
Yeah, so as we see, the Kiwis have brought it back over half, and they're going the other way now. We're coming home, as we say, towards their own bench. So nice offload from Dan Buckingham to Tim Johnson, an easy roll in.
So there's Grant Sharman, the New Zealand coach, who's had so much to do with the rise of wheelchair rugby in New Zealand and in so many aspects of sport for the disabled in this country, as Mark Zupan has done in the United States. And here he is with a big collision from Buckingham, and he meets Zupan, shuts him out for the moment.
Yeah, Zupan's pretty safe with the ball, so he's going to take those hits. He's good, solid player. He's got a bit of trunk function there, and he's able to take a hit and not fall over. So he's just settling the play down. And the Kiwis have decided to key up. So they're defending that box in the back there. And the US players are only allowed in there for 10 seconds. So if they're going to score, they've got to get in and through quite quickly.
See the way he spins the wheels with his hands, but also with his forearms and elbows. Has quite a bit of use there and trunk function, and gets through to score. Mark Zupan.
And Billy Outen won't be very happy with that, because Zupan just beat him one-on-one around that cone area. So here you see Jerry Tinker blocking there for Tim Johnson.
Gets away from Hoxett, makes a pass to Tinker, and Tinker's away. There is Jeremy Tinker, and there's his mum watching. She's one of the staff here, Kathy, and she's been here with the New Zealand team all week.
And we see the Kiwis defending hard on their halfway line, and Zupan's been able to get over it, but almost a turnover there.
There was nearly a chance for New Zealand to win back a turnover.
Will Grill recovers that ball and rolls through quite easily in the end, but it was a very fine line.
So a bit of wheel.
Easy, guys. Easy, easy.
Yeah, that's the problem with chairs. Sometimes they get a good collision, and sometimes they bump up one on top of the other, and you literally can't get away. So there's a bit of a stop while they... Meantime, there's a long pass over, and Tim Johnson's through.
Makes it look like a touchdown. That's the way it is from the New Zealand captain, Tim Johnson.
And here we have an inbound from the base to Zupan, and Zupan does a little fake turn and away.
And it's Tinker reaching in.
It's always a risky business for players to reach in from slightly behind like Jerry did there, so chances are you're going to get called for that foul.
So into the bin goes Tinker.
So Jerry will wait there until the US score or until 1 minute's up. So the US won't be too worried. They're in the box seat, I guess. They got the ball, and
the half-time break, James Gumbert, he called to his team.
Thank you.
16 minutes of hell we need to win the World Championship.
Yes, it's a very competitive sport, and no one's going to give an inch, so they're working hard out there.
And they lead by 1.
And as you see here, we've got a man-on-man press again, and Tim Johnson's able to break that. Create 2 to come to him, and that leaves Dan in the open to receive that pass over half. Dan's now doubled, and Zupan and Andy can't work, but he's able to get it away to Jerry Tinker. And he'll give it back because Dan's got the hand function. He's a little safer with the ball. And you tend to want to have your high pointer to carry the ball, particularly under the pressure situations.
Trying to get started again, Buckingham. Now with Johnson. Formerly a local lad here in Christchurch, now living up in Auckland.
So here we have Zupan got a jump ball. So again, Tim's second jump ball of the game, I believe, and he won't be very happy with that. So that goes. Here we see Tim turning away from Scott. Zupan able to get in there. So that'll go to the arrow possession and give the Americans the ball. So that's really like a turnover, essentially.
Yes, and if they score here, they'll go to that 2-point gap, which is hard to pin back. Will Grew with it.
Watch hands. Thank you.
Kirkland to Grew. And there it is. It's a 2-point lead for USA.
And then we saw Andy Kahn setting a nice pick on the corner from Jerry, so Will Grill could just roll in there.